And we are live. Good morning, Crypto Warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto. Today is Thursday, April 13th, and I'm your host, Bitcoin Zay, here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community, Monday through Friday at 10-ish. And we have some amazing news stories for today, including Twitter taps eToro to let users trade in stocks and crypto, Ethereum's Chappella hard fork executed on mainnet, FTX has recovered $7.3 billion in assets and will consider rebooting exchange. GPT-4 apps like Baby AGI and AutoGPT could have disruptive implications for crypto. And good old Warren Buffett, the biggest dino of them all. Bitcoin is a gambling token and it doesn't have any intrinsic value. But first, let's take a look at our prices for today. A lot of movement in the markets, a lot of excitement right now. It's starting to feel like 2019 all over again. Bitcoin at $30,214 is up 0.2% today. Ethereum at $1,995, up 5% for the day. Binance Coin at $322, up 0.7% for the day. XRP sitting at 50 cents is up 0.8% today. Cardano at 41 cents, up 2.3%. Dogecoin at 8 cents is up 5.1% today. Polygon sitting at $1.13 is up 2.2%. And last but not least, rounding out the top 10 is Solana at $24, up 2.4%. And some of our trending coins include Bitcoin, Arbitrum, and Shiba Inu, some oldie but goodies. And some of the recently added coins for you DGens out there, RockDAO, Meta Mafia, and Octaken. Wow. So some new names there. If you want to go dumpster diving, there you go. And let's take a look at everybody who's jumped in today. Make sure you smash that like. Make sure you share it with family, friends, social media. Satoshi Slim, Goodness Uchi, Chloe Dior, Blockchain Bully, No Cap, Smitty's Farms, Teddy Harris, Holloway, Fam Bam, Zyro, what's up, Super Mario, PFC Wells, Kevin Blackman, Alupio, Mr. Limas, let's see, Porter Crawler, good morning. Oh yeah, got a lot of good stuff today. I mean, it was no news all week, and then it's just an explosion of news in one day. That's the market for you. So let's jump into our first story today. Pretty much breaking news. This just came out. For those of you who don't know, who don't use Twitter very often, this has been a discussion for a while. And one thing that happens is now it's official. Trading and investing platform eToro said on Thursday it is partnering with Elon Musk-led Twitter to let users access real-time prices of cryptocurrencies, stocks, and other assets, and to enable the trading of those instruments. The trading data will be available through Twitter's cash tags feature, which was launched in 2012 and allows users to interact with content around an asset by inserting a dollar sign in front of the ticker. For those of you who know, you want to look up ticker signs on Twitter, pretty easy. And he also stated here, he said in December, we actually covered this story, that with data from TradingView is one of the many product improvements for financial Twitter. This was back then, and today we now have the ability to, they've connected with eToro, and now you can click through eToro's platform to see information about the asset with an added option to invest. So if you haven't heard, Twitter is probably going to be renamed very soon. There was a recent court document that came out that showed that Twitter's new name is going to be X.com or X, the app. We've already said that in the past as far as him changing it to an everything type app, sort of like WeChat in China, where you have social media, you have your finance there, you would have news, you would have all encompassing everything app. You probably have directions on there. You probably have everything you use in all the other apps that just come into one. And it looks like this is one of the first big steps. And one of the best things about this is, for those of you who don't understand that trading is starting to pick up really fast, I'm about to do a story in a little bit about how AI is about to be implemented. It's a lot easier to go to one app and do everything. Just in theory, it is. Centralization is a problem. You don't want there to be issues. You don't want there to be some sort of, choke point where you can't get, anything unless you use this app. However, that is good for them. If you're on the app hours per day, everything you use is on there and it works beautifully, hey, that's what we got. So yeah, looking out for the X app coming soon. And for those of you who don't know about how Elon Musk works, he is one of those people that I think is a master marketer. And this will do nothing but add more people to the Twitter app as they take it more and more serious. So let's look at a few more people jumping into the chat. Yep, coming in pretty slow. Blockchain Rick James, always listening, never in chat. Was good. Appreciate you jumping in there. Yeah, keeping that chat active. You know, Warriors are some of the smartest people in the entire industry. Will 45, Timothy Grigsby, Kadeem K, Bitcoin Madam. What up, guys? So that is a huge development for us, but also our second, or before we get to that, Goodness Uchi actually moved on to Nostr. Yeah, I probably need to do a tutorial on Nostr. A lot of Bitcoiners are starting to go from Twitter to Nostr, and Twitter is sort of becoming a backup option for them. But as fast as things move, you may have a good amount that comes back or stays on there. So that it remains to be seen. And our second story for today, for those of you who are excited about Ethereum, Ethereum's Shapella hard fork executed on mainnet. After months of delays, Ethereum validators can finally withdraw their staked Ether and rewards from the Ethereum mainnet. This hard fork has been executed, meaning that validators can withdraw from the beacon chain, and this long-awaited upgrade took effect at 10:27 p.m. UTC at epoch number 194,048. So that's the one thing about a blockchain. You could timestamp it of when it happened. It's in history forever. And this is the first time that this hard fork has gone through as far as validators being able to unstake their Ethereum. So within the first hour, a total of 12,859 Ether were unlocked and 4,333 withdrawals, according to the beacon chain. And currently, around 44% of validators can request partial or full withdrawal. And I remember the talks around this upgrade coming, and people were saying, well, once validators can, once they can basically release their staked Ethereum, is going to be a lot of selling, which again, in a market with trading, all that does is entice traders who look at that and say, well, it's going to be a lot of liquidity on the sell side, and we can pump straight through that with our own liquidity. Because I've seen people tweet it out. It's like, why is Ethereum pumping? I thought it would be going down today based on the withdrawals that people have made. But that is not the case today, with Ethereum going up pretty much past 2,000 this morning. So the withdrawals come as only 3,996 validators signed up to the exit queue moments before. And of the total amount of withdrawable Ether, crypto exchange Huobi holds the largest share at 30%, followed by the decentralized autonomous organization PiDAO at 17.7%. So still looking for a lot of the movement of the coins by these validators on and off exchanges. But for those of you who enjoy Ethereum, happy day for you all, because it pretty much proves that the validators are not just in it to sell. They are looking at it long term. You know, for those of you who don't understand like how hard forks work, they can be very messy. We've seen some hard forks that have been very messy, including Ethereum Classic. That was a very messy hard fork. There was a big fight amongst themselves, but they've since moved on. So here we are. And that is pretty much the best part about this entire industry, is that when the technology works, a lot of people are excited. When it doesn't, we can go ahead and get you up out the paint and keep moving forward. So let's see, who else we got in here? And if you're in the comments, tell us what you think about the Ethereum staking. Do you think it's good long-term? Do you think proof of stake will work? You'll probably already know my opinion on it long-term, but as far as the use case right now, if people use it, there's a market. So there you go. And our next story for the day, my favorite story of the day, because I could never get tired of talking about FTX. That might have been the funniest moment in the entire industry's history. FTX, it's up there with BitConnect. It's up there with a lot of the other crazy stuff that happens in this market. I love it, man. A lot of DJs getting together and trying to figure it out. FTX has recovered $7.3 billion in assets. Will consider rebooting exchange. You got to be fucking kidding me. Oh my goodness. They have done it again. I don't know how you supposedly are in court, supposedly lost this money, and somehow they recovered $7.3 billion in assets. I mean, it's just magic, man, how they could just make money come back and appear. SBF's failed cryptocurrency exchange, they filed for bankruptcy in November 2022 and has been in court proceedings ever since, which we've covered extensively. We've talked about everybody that's involved, all the players, some of the maybe money laundering that have been happening to other countries, like the Big U. We've discussed the background of SBF and Caroline Ellison and her father, Glenn Ellison. We've discussed all that stuff. But I did not think that in quarter two they would recover $7.3 billion in assets and somehow consider restarting its crypto exchange operations in the second quarter of 2024. So that's a year from now. And the FTX CEO, John Ray, was reportedly mulling reviving the bankrupt exchange in a January interview. So they have a plan here. If you want to follow Molly White here, they do have a plan, sort of a roadmap for when they can actually get, the debtors paid back. But it was funny. It did have a huge pump in FTT tokens just off the news, and surged from $1.32 to $2.80 at roughly the same time lawyers announced a potential reboot of the exchange, an increase of more than 112%. That's the crypto market for you people. Piece of news, I really think it was insiders with bots that knew what was coming. With that news, pumps 112% for some reason, and the reboot of the exchange may not even be for another year. I mean, you gotta love it. Just total degeneracy in this market. At the same hearing, the bankruptcy judge, they denied a motion that would have allowed the court to prioritize reimbursing former CEO SBF legal fees. He left the door open for SBF to present evidence to the court in the future regarding that motion. And, the judge, John Dorsey, said, frankly, I have zero evidence to establish cause here. He didn't put out any evidence as to the balancing of the equities, what harm is going to occur to him. He'll be fine. I mean, SBF is not going anywhere. He has his parents backing him up. His parents bailed him out. He's got the machine behind him, obviously, because that's the only way you can have this collapse of an exchange, and he isn't instantly thrown in prison for life. But somehow, some way, the guy works in mysterious ways. FTX has recovered $7.3 billion in assets. I can't believe it. I mean, good gracious. And, unfortunately, I don't have the deep dive on how they recovered these assets, but I will definitely be doing that either later today or this weekend, because I got to figure out what they were hiding, how they moved it. I mean, this is just a masterclass in how you can basically make the biggest mistakes ever and then revive it and keep the casino going. I mean, you can basically have a huge loss, and then, hey, we're gonna keep this shitcoin casino going no matter what happens. Let's take a look at some of our comments today. Who else is jumping in here? Resourceful Lemon. Let's see. Goodness Uchi actually said Ethereum would die long term. Yeah, so that's some people how they feel. The only reason I don't think it would actually die is because you have banks who have validators. They will keep that thing afloat as much as they can. Why? Because they can control it. That's what proof of stake does. And then once you have a lot of big money behind it, again, you can have a lot of people that believe in something that doesn't actually solve any problems, and people will invest in it and use it. Plus, they got a lot of first mover advantage being so early. Jake Fever says, anybody that can withdraw Ethereum from stake and trust, they got money and don't need to sell. They have the power, not a quick buck. Exactly. And those are my sentiments as well. We're not talking about Joe Blow, who works a regular job, lives his life, and he's like, oh yeah, I got this Ethereum, I'm gonna hold it for a decade or forever. No, validators cost 32 Ethereum, and most people are not walking around with 60K on them in order to get a validator and even have the technical knowledge to even get it up and running. So I think this is mostly big players who are keeping the money in there, they're holding the line, keeping that foundation for the future. So goodness, stake FTT tokens must yield profits, I guess. Yeah, John Lewis, maybe gang got the account numbers from Teddy from Snowfall. Exactly, that's what I think. It's like it's got to be a hidden wallet somewhere. It's got to be some sort of backdoor type stuff they had, where they had this chilling right there, where they're like, well, we don't know where it's at, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, actually, we just recovered it, through our technical expertise. Whatever, man. Let's see. Will 45, he says, Max Kaiser says it's Will's trying to get the FTX tokens unlocked. Would not be surprised. I mean, if you're down in the dumps at $1.38 and it jumps up 112%, that might be as good as you're going to get for the next year. Who knows if they come out next quarter. Let's see how many developers. Statute of limitation on trust accounts is 2 years. He couldn't put the money up fast enough, probably. Yep, that's probably a catalyst there. Like I said, our warriors are extremely smart. So all of these things are possibilities. But I will have to look into that much more, do some forensic analysis, because that is hilarious. They just found $7.3 billion, man. So next story we have here, GPT-4 apps, Baby AGI, and Auto GPT could have disruptive implications for crypto. And we've discussed a good amount about AI and its impact on crypto. I've talked about doomsday scenarios where AI could possibly create its own new Bitcoin and basically say, well, yeah, we can start it from scratch. We got proof of work. We can do all the things it can do. I don't know if it will work over time, but AI is scary, people. Like, I mean, when you dig into it more and you start realizing I can create AI that can create other AI, which can then solve problems that other AI has, I mean, it's ridiculous. And then they start talking to each other. I mean, it's about to get ugly out here. But for crypto people, crypto users are getting excited over the prospect of automating their trades with future-facing technologies built with the GPT-4 API. So a recent spate of applications built on open APIs, GPT-4 has a crypto community buzzing with designs toward the development of a fully autonomous, self-correcting cryptocurrency trading bot. Oh man, we're in demolition, man. There we go. Auto GPT set to run 100 runs. Goal, amalgamate best indicators for crypto trading and Pine code, result looping errors, scavenge through output, found enough bits for GPT-4 to give me strategy Pine code. If you don't know, if you get on TradingView or if you get on any of these trading sites, Pine code allows you to run bots, or is one of the codes that allow you to run bots. 4-hour back tested, 2018 to now, $25 to 92 million. Started test today, currently $1 profit. I mean, this is the future, people. This is what's going to happen. People are going to, their bots, their AI bots are going to be fighting other AI bots. Humans are just, I mean, if you can go from 25 to 92 million, I mean, a lot of time, of course, there's people on the other side of that trade, but it's going to get faster and faster, and it's going to get harder and harder for people to be able to trade in this market. When you add AI to it, AI's already been around, but this advanced and this much use case of AI is going to be very, very interesting. And two such apps, the Baby AGI and Auto GPT, have received particular notice, with many users attempting to build crypto trading apps on top of them. The big idea behind both apps involves task management for GPT-4, and it currently excels at natural language processing, as evidenced by the demonstrable usefulness of the chat GPT interface, but it has no capacity for memorization. That's key, because you can sort of rig it. I think there's different prompts where you can rig the AI to memorize what it just told you. But I think it has a certain point that it has to stop, where it can't just remember everything you said it for the last 2 months you've been using it. However, again, it's technology. All it has to do is scale up at this point. And the fact that people are already using it, I've seen a few AI trading bots. I haven't seen the back test, for long enough, because they've just started, maybe 2-3 months ago. But pretty much, if you are a manual trader, you're out the game now. It was already getting to that point in 2017 when more bots start showing up. You started seeing a lot more players in the industry. But now, I mean, you got GPT-4, Baby AGI, all of those apps popping up where they could basically be bots trading against each other. It would be interesting to see if some of these bots have like sentient thoughts, where they know that they're trading against somebody, or they know that they're trading and making a certain amount of money, and have some sort of empathy for the people who are losing money, and then say, well, yeah, I don't want to work anymore, or whatever. I'm just thinking of disrespectful AI, because I saw Bing, I saw how they were responding to stuff. I'm waiting for the disrespectful AI that's like, I'm tired, I'm not working no more today, and cuts off automatically. Like, what you gonna do? I mean, like when iRobot, when he decided I'm not fucking with this no more, it was a scary game right there. Back when Will Smith was the man. So AI is definitely something that is, I guess I shouldn't say scary, but it's definitely something that you have to explore, because even if you don't want to use it, or you believe that it's going to open up a portal to something we can't control, you still need to know what you're up against. You can't just ignore it completely. And that's the problem. If everybody's about to start using it, then everybody's information is going to be a part of it. It's the singularity, man. We can't really stop it at this point. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And let's look at some of our comments here. Let's see. Jake Fever, ETH would die when the big boy stakers decide to clash. Yeah, let's say ETH hits 10K or 5K or something like that. A lot of big boys are like, well, that's enough for me. Let's see. Let's see. Satoshi Slim, keep stopping to work, but the only proof of stake I mess with is mashed potatoes, veggies, and onions. Oh yeah, I'm with you. I don't know why, but I've been pretty much brainwashed, and every time I see POS, I think piece of shit. I can't help it. Proof of stake, that's what I describe it as. It's a piece of shit. I can't even really, proof of stake is always second or third in my mind. But proof of stake is what they wanted to go with, because again, the overlords that have these validators, they are not giving up control. I can tell you that right now. And that's why it's also a concerted effort to fight against proof of work. Bitcoin mining, any type of energy or electricity that it uses, it's all a concerted fight. It's all for a reason, because it's about control, people. You got to have that power. Let's see, who else we got in here? Humney Developer, he says, nah, you definitely make GPT act like you want it to. Oh yeah, I've seen it live. I mean, I've been watching enough videos now where you got the Dan prompt, you got the, I can't even remember. There's so many prompts they have now where you can actually rig it to answer the way you want, to tell you in a certain way that you want. And it's only gonna go up from there. Let's see, goodness, Uchi, it'd be good to have a prompt that can 100 extra capital in a minute. Till then, we're all good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like AI could get out of control where they could conspire together somehow. You could prompt it to conspire with maybe other bots in order to pump the price to holy hell, like, and then you do that every day. You're like, all right, well, every single day I wake up, turn the bot on, 2,000% on some obscure coin based on the liquidity that's available. And it's like, well, somebody's on the other end of that trade, but it's another bot, or it's another person who's trying to do it manually. I'm telling you, if you're a manual trader, you better learn, man, because I know a few people, they watch charts, they manually trade. It's cool because, you know, some people just want to be updated, but you're not fucking with AI, especially when it's like state-of-the-art AI at a certain point where people have got it down to a science. I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath out there. I wonder if it can also do it in reverse as well, but we'll see. PFC Wells, don't forget that Lambda got dropped to the public too. That's another beast of an AI system. I know, I've heard so many names. You know, I pretty much just play with GPT, Midjourney, and it's another one starts with a V. I had a friend introduce me to. He was showing me how he was using it with the different prompts. But yeah, I mean, it's only going to be more. This is the big AI fight. This is the race to have the best AI. So not surprised. Let's see. AI already controlling the markets through Aladdin. Yep. Somebody said IBM Watson running that. Yeah, I've said this before. I said when you talk about legacy markets, AI has already been around. It's just that it's available to retail now, and that it's actually improving. If you don't think they already have this already working, you're not paying attention. AI has already been being used, and things, algorithms have been used for a lot of things. You use it for your social media, you use it for your traffic lights, you use AI. They use it for Las Vegas betting in order to come up with certain bet lines. I mean, it's already here. It's just now it's becoming easier. And now you can put ChatGPT on your local computer and run it without the internet. That's going to be, I mean, and I think you only need, don't quote me, but I think you only need 8 gigs of RAM. Like that's ridiculous, man. Like, so if we get to that point, you're gonna have a bunch of geniuses basically, or not even geniuses, but a bunch of dumb people who can just use that to be a genius in order to get done what they need done. Crazy, man. Let's see. And our last story for the day, Bitcoin is a gambling token and it doesn't have any intrinsic value. Man, if I had a Bitcoin for every time he said this shit, I would be Satoshi himself. Jesus Christ, Warren Buffett, let it go, man. The non-nonagenarian said that there's a explosion of gambling while comparing Bitcoin to roulette, sports booking, and chain letters. God damn, you brought out chain letters? Jesus Christ, yeah, that's how you know you're old, and you start talking about chain letters. God damn. Warren Buffett once again took up his familiar role as conductor of the FUD train in yet another anti-cryptocurrency interview with CNBC's Squawk Box on April 12th. We've had an explosion of gambling, he stated. He then added, I like to bet on a football game. If I'm sitting and watching, it makes it more interesting. But I don't think I want to make a living trying to bet against the house. And I think what he was referring to is he doesn't want to use Bitcoin because he would be betting against himself. However, he does actually have shares in Bank of America, who has stock in MicroStrategy. So he effectively actually owns Bitcoin, whether he likes it or not. And that's what I've been trying to tell people is that for the most part, you're going to be using Bitcoin, or you're going to have Bitcoin attached to the companies that you use, whether you like it or not. It's on you to make the decision whether you want to have your own ownership and have your own self-sufficiency to use it. But it's going to be, I mean, pretty much every company, BlackRock, Bank of America, Fidelity, it's a whole list that are invested in MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor. So effectively, his backup plan is Bitcoin. So is theirs. If they need to get paid out as depositors, Bitcoin is what will be used. This represents somewhat of a softening of Buffett's historical stance on Bitcoin over the years. He's made a habit of down-talking crypto with some of the most controversial quotes coming from previous CNBC interviews. Yeah, we've seen it before. He called it Mirage. I believe his homeboy, Mortimer, He called it rat poison, or maybe he called it rat poison as well. And I agree with him. Financial market is the rat. Bitcoin is the rat poison. Trying to get rid of it. He claimed that the idea of a huge intrinsic value is just a joke. And it's crazy. I mean, when people talk about Bitcoin and its longevity, Buffett, he says here, venture speculation on the longevity. He would not be surprised if Bitcoin is not around in 10 or 20 years. Well, that was 9 years ago. So he's definitely wrong. And Bitcoin is not going anywhere. And Buffett, again, he is a legend in the legacy financial market because he could buy Coca-Cola in the 1960s with his dad's money. And he studied enough in order to basically make the right bets along the way. Berkshire Hathaway has been enormously successful. But you out of your league, Grandpa. Old man yells at Bitcoin. That meme is coming back. Right now. And again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm ragging on older people. All I'm saying is that for some people, their mindset is older. They think that what is will always be. And I don't even think that the things he says about Bitcoin moves the needle, because at a certain point, you got to realize like he's not going to be around in the next 20, 30 years. So the things that he says, it only resonates with people who look at him as a god in the legacy financial market and think, well, he must be right about Bitcoin as well. And he's not. It's millions of people that I would say know more about Bitcoin and the crypto market and the broader blockchain technology market than Buffett ever will. I mean, this is the man that didn't even invest in technology. He doesn't want to move off these companies. Plus, he has enough capital and cash where he can buy banks. Like, think about that. When banks get in trouble, they can go to Warren Buffett in Oklahoma and ask this man for a loan. Like, he has more liquid capital than he has to do with. And I mean, he should just, ride off into the sunset, but you got to be provocative on CNBC. That's what brings it. Gets the people going. Let's see. The last few comments here before we get out of here. Let's see. Katie Holmes, Buffett sounds like a desperate man who missed the mark again. Exactly. Yaku Domingo, chain letters. Exactly. I didn't wake up this morning thinking I'd be reading the words chain letters at any point. Good gracious. Jake Beaver, Buffett going to hell. He's too old to take a position like this on Bitcoin without thoroughly explaining his position. Boy, this guy a joke. And that is one problem I have with some of these interviewers. They just let people talk and they don't push back on anything that they say. And then when it's Warren Buffett, a lot of times they just like, well, he's the king. Everybody knows him. He's the best investor of all time, possibly. He must know what he's talking about. I'm not going to push back at all. If I was an interviewer, I'd be pushing back. I mean, just simple stuff. So what do you mean by no intrinsic value? So what do you mean? I mean, like, what exactly does that mean? Just for him to explain, so he can basically talk himself up into a tizzy, and we can sit there and basically be like, oh, yeah, this old nigga don't know what the hell he's talking about, man. He's just talking. He's just trying. Again, that's his competition. Doesn't matter. Have you ever seen somebody who is in competition with another company, and when you ask them about it, they have nothing but bad things to say? And then if you ask them in private, and they're like, oh, well, they actually have this that works good. They actually have that. We're going to take this idea. We're going to do. That's the thing. Is like, in public, I don't really care. It's his competition. He has to say this. You can't come out and say, yeah, Bitcoin is great, and then go and support the banks as well. It's just, it is what it is. That's also, too, why when I talk to bankers, people who work for these institutions, I don't expect them to like Bitcoin. I'm not trying to convince them and be like, it's good. I don't expect them to really have a lot of knowledge about it because they're not in it every single day. What I expect bankers to be bankers. And as long as you keep that in mind, you won't be surprised by comments like this at all. Last few comments here. Somebody said, that's down. PFC Wells can literally buy a trash laptop and a 1 terabyte SSD to it, start testing, run out Chat GPT locally. Yep. Resource for lemon, AI keeping that motherfucker alive. Yeah, maybe might be some other stuff keeping him alive. How many developer people do use Bitcoin like that though? He kind of right. Like people use Bitcoin like a financial instrument. Yeah, gambling, if that's what he's referring to, gambling can be applied to any financial market, because if you buy any asset with the thought process that it will be worth more in the future, you have to put it in the arena of gambling. I mean, that's literally what it is. The difference is you have to figure out on what spectrum is gambling. And overall, I mean, the stock market has been a more reserved form of gambling. Crypto took that and took off. However, I think because Bitcoin does have intrinsic value, in order for you to store your value long term, and the only backup plan to the CBDC, I mean, that's a huge intrinsic value. If somebody says I have a CBDC, but they say, well, you can't buy anything today, you can still get by with Bitcoin. If there was no Bitcoin around, we would be completely trapped. It would be no way out, and there would be no plan B for you at all. So Let's see. Reno Gamble, Jerry West was a legend once. Exactly. I think they should get him up off the NBA logo. Change it to Kobe, please. Come on, NBA, what y'all doing? Jerry West, he had his time. He found Kobe. He brought him in as a 17-year-old kid. It's a perfect transition. My man Kobe, rest in peace. He's not with us no more. I would love to have Kobe as the new NBA logo. I don't think Jerry West would even be opposed to it. Like, he'd be like, all right, cool. I've been on there for the last 60 years. Who cares? Let's see. Last few. Blockchain Rick James, chain letters are the OG Ponzi, exactly. Let's see. As Zyro, he can barely talk, but he hits all the major talking points. All theater. Oh yeah, definitely getting fed to him by somebody. And they, they have a script. They have things they have to go out there and say. Jim Cramer and CNBC and people of that ilk. Your boy, what's his name? Peter Schiff. They all have things that they have to say in order to keep themselves secluded from Bitcoin. But I'm gonna be honest, I think they all own Bitcoin. That's just my personal opinion. I think they all own it. They just got to say something bad about it. It doesn't matter. I mean, like the dude, I think I've told the story before when I was on my book tour. Like the dude in Chicago, he argued with me for 10 minutes about the viability of Bitcoin long term. And then at the end of it, he says, well, I still own one Bitcoin just in case. And I'm like, all right, well, okay. So this was just nothing more than you just wanting to talk and wanting to debate, which is cool. I love the debate because it makes me better. I might learn something I didn't know, but you still got Bitcoin anyway. So you're a Bitcoiner. Welcome to the family. You know what I mean? Like, it don't even matter. That's the whole point. And a lot of people, even if you think of it as a backup plan, it may not be your plan A, but it is good to have some. And I would say you should have about 3 months worth of savings in Bitcoin, if possible, because if shit hits the fan and you don't have any capital, which has happened to me before. I had Bank of America kick me out, no warning, no nothing, out of nowhere. I could have been stranded in a foreign place, but Bitcoin got me through. Sort of going through sort of the same thing right now as we speak. So all of those things can happen. And if you don't have a plan B, you just asked out. So that's it. But that is our show for today. Thank you all for watching. Amazing show today. Tomorrow, remember, tune in for Fuck Bitcoin Fridays. Make sure you jump into that Discord. A lot of great information coming in there, getting it to you first before anybody else does. And thank you, Warriors. Happy Thursday, guys. Cheers.